5. My name is Abdiaziz. Hashim. Also, Jummah Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters across the country. You're just in time for the latest in the country and beyond our borders. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom of the screen is Lucy Moore. Let's get an update from Nakuru, where human rights groups in Nakuru County have condemned the hostility against the cast of the Echoes of War play from Butera Girls High School and other attendees at the ongoing National Drama Festivals in Nakuru County. The lobby groups have faulted the police for their conduct, saying it poses a threat to freedom of expression. The activists are now demanding that the students be allowed to stage their play like all their other competitors. They have also condemned the attack on journalists during the melee. Police have since launched investigations into the incident.
Intentionally violated the rights of our children who are in school and who had come here to perform during this festival that are happening here in Nakuru.
Tunashangaa sasa watoto wetu pia wanagandamizwa. Hii shahidi ambayo watoto wanakuja kufanya na drama, tunanacha talents za watoto wetu. Na talents za watoto wetu pia zinakuwa nurtured, so that in future watoto wetu wanaweza fanya mazuri.
It's quite unfortunate if our children can be treated as criminals. Our children are not criminals. Our children have a right enshrined in the Constitution and Children Act 2022. Right to participation. And one of the participation is matters of governance.
Now to another developing story here. The Chief Executive Officer of Finance, Turkana County, Michael Eregaye Kidor, has been arrested by detectives from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, with a 6.5 million shilling cash in his car. EACC carried out a sting operation at the homes and offices of 10 individuals, including senior officials of Turkana County government, in connection with a 600 million shillings fraud scheme. At the crack of dawn on Thursday, sleuths from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, carried out a sting operation at homes and offices of 10 individuals. This is in connection with a procurement fraud scheme amounting to over 600 million shillings in Turkana County. The Abdi Mohamud-led body has since established that Michael Eregaye Kidor, who is the CEC for Finance, is at the center of investigations, is the mastermind behind the scheme that has led to the county losing millions of shillings. According to EACC boss, Ekidor, along with other county officials, is accused of trading with the county through various companies that received over 600 million shillings in payments for alleged procurement for goods and services during the financial years of 2022, 2023 and 2023-2024. Abenyo Amathuel Etir, a security warden in the county, registered a company in November 2022 and within a month was paid millions from the grant scheme. Previously, the commission obtained court orders dated 3rd of March 2025, freezing the 180 million in bank accounts belonging to Etir. Ekidor and Etir are being investigated alongside other officials, including Peter Lomurukai, the Chief Officer for Municipalities and Urban Management, Mark Achila Ekuru, the Chief Officer for Roads and Transport, Samson Nakito, the Director of Procurement, Lilian Alaper Ateo, a Senior Accountant, and Anna Narot Longoli, the Cleaning Supervisor in Turkana County. Also implicated in the scandal are John Toyoko Ekal, believed to be the spouse to one of the officials, Stephen Lowoton, the former Assistant Director of Accounting, and businessmen William Erex Aminit and Nangiro Edung Ichor. The commission raising concern of overnight millionaires in counties at the expense of the taxpayers. And in other news, families of 3 National Police reservists from Igembe North, Meru County, shot dead last Monday at Merti in Isiolo South while pursuing stolen livestock are crying for justice. The families have said that since the incident occurred, there has been no communication from the government on compensation or how their loved ones will be buried. The families have further alleged that they have been denied permission to view the bodies of their loved ones, seeking the intervention of the relevant authorities.
Tumekusanyika hapa kutoka Jumatatu na hatujaona hata mmoja wao wala hata kupigiwa simu kuulizwa mnaendeleaje. Sasa sisi tunashangaa. Bwanangu, kama hivyo ndivyo watakuwa wanauawa kama mbwa huko. Wakati wako uhai ndio wanafaida kwa serikali.
Hatujapata ripoti yoyote kutoka kwa ofisi ya serikali, hasa kutoka kwa House PD, kutoka kwa House CS, kutoka kwa DCC. Hakuna habari yoyote imefikia kama familia ya kwamba mtoto wetu aliaga dunia.
Saa hii vile viko tunataka justice, watu wetu walipo wale wameuawa na waisi huko Chaguani. Hatuna ingine ya kufanya nyuma na mbele. Yeye alikuwa tegemeo letu, ameanza watoto wadogo nyumbani.
Let's take a look at what is happening in other devolved units. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, has ramped up its crackdown on corruption in Tana River and Kilifi counties, with senior officials facing allegations of bribery and unexplained wealth. This comes as Hustler Fund, launched to support low-income Kenyans, faces challenges with loan defaults due to low loan limits, leaving many borrowers struggling to repay. Details on this and other stories making headlines is in our county's news roundup.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has intensified its efforts to tackle corruption in Tana River and Kilifi counties, with multiple raids and arrests of senior officials. Meanwhile, Hustler Fund CEO Elizabeth N. Kuku says low loan limits in the Hustler Fund public loans portal have led to widespread defaults among low-income Kenyans since the program's launched 2.5 years ago.
Have significant increases in terms of their limits. Someone started with 1,000 shillings. Now they are speaking of a limit of 150,000. Most people are saying that the reason why they didn't borrow or they didn't repay is because the limits were low. So the government had that, and they have actually come up with really, really good products for all these people.
Elsewhere, Siaya County Executive Committee member for Trade and Industrialization, Grace Agola, has denied allegations of incompetence and mismanagement in response to an impeachment motion filed against her.
This one can only be proven because as county government, we only have one system of payment. Payment is not done per department. So that I would say that cleaners that are working for trade will be paid at the trade. Cleaners that are working for land will be paid at land.
This kind of delivery.
Finally, Kenyans have been urged to adapt to the growing impact of artificial intelligence, with concerns that 52% of jobs could be automated, leading to potential job losses.
Everything will be automated, but it's more of thinking about how to partner with the AI. So it's learning about how does this AI works and how can I help improve the things that I do that AI cannot do, because there are certain decisions that AI, it will still need a human intervention. So how do you make yourself advantageous to the point that you have to be there to essentially either operate the AI or leverage and use it in partnership with what you're doing.
Speaking at the annual Information Systems Audit and Control Association conference in Mombasa, Special Envoy on Technology Ambassador Philip Thigo emphasized the importance of using AI to enhance and supplement work rather than replace it.
Well, leaders from various parts of the country have congregated here in the capital for the second edition of Kibaki Memorial Lecture and a luncheon that is currently happening at the Nairobi Serena Hotel. Let's listen in to the proceedings there.
For employment. So what we did was, to take care of the youth was to expand the education, of course, so that they stay in school longer. and they are more technically empowered to do that. Then on top of that, he really identified the sectors that needed to be expanded so that they can create more jobs. You know, at that time, Nairobi, there were no high-rise buildings. In fact, we used to have Nyayo high-rise somewhere near the down Nairobi Dam, Nyayo high-rise as more estate. There was Kariako, which was done very early, and there's more high-rise also estate in Outer Ring. We didn't have high-rise apartments. So Kibaki opened up Nairobi for high-rise buildings and multiple use of buildings, not just residential. You can imagine Upper Hill were just bungalows. How many people are in Upper Hill in bungalows in one week each? How many people? Places like Kilimani, places like all these areas around Nairobi, even Parklands, Westlands, Lavington, they were just bungalows with very few people. People having just 1 acre in one house, a family of 2 or 3. So you opened up and look at Nairobi today. I mean, all these high-rise have created also jobs, a lot of jobs. So really what I'm saying here is that Kibaki really valued think tanks very much. That's why the Economic and Social Council could come up with various options. And once he's convinced about the best option available, he would just give us, targets. There's no two-way. You are given targets. You have to deliver. And you just say, don't talk too much. People will appreciate what they can see. Do it. Once people see it, you remember the roads, the development of the roads in the country, infrastructure, the ICT. I remember Kenya was when Kibaki took over, Kenya was very slow on adopting the new ICT transformations which were taking place globally. So he said, now, who are we going to give this ministry? We need to have somebody who can understand it. Unfortunately, those days.
Well, that is the second Mwai Kibaki Memorial Lecture and Luncheon that is currently ongoing here in the capital. And this year's theme is A Resilient Nation, the Mwai Kibaki Legacy. Our reporter Adan Ibrahim is on the ground and will inform us in our subsequent bulletin. Let's come back here to the studio and inform you what is happening in the education sector. 465 secondary schools principals in Kitui County have been trained on transition to the competence-based curriculum CBC as part of the preparation for the transition of junior secondary school learners to senior secondary school next year. The 3-day training was facilitated by the Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology Education in Africa semester at the Mulango Girls and Muthali Girls Secondary School, respectively, within the county.
Ahead of grade 10 rollout in January 2026, the government is currently conducting a countrywide training targeting more than 7,000 secondary school principals. The training, scheduled to run from Thursday to Saturday, is taking place in 50 centers across all 47 counties to equip school heads with what to expect come 2026. In Kitui County, over 400 principals drawn from both public and private learning institutions have undergone the retooling exercise.
The sessions here covered competency-based education framework, transition to senior school, guidelines, CBC pathways, and emphasis was on STEM. Then career guidance and mentorship was also covered. Management of change for transition in competency-based education was also covered.
According to Kitui County Director of Education Halif Isaac Hassan, the trained school held with the trainers to cascade their acquired skills to junior staff.
Our expectation is that principals will have gathered enough confidence, and from here they will go and prepare the stakeholders at school level, board of management, the teachers, and other stakeholders in the school.
Joseph Ohungu for Lunchtime News.
Residents of Mailoni village in Kiserian town, Kajiado County, have raised concerns on the increased cases of deaths in Kiserian Dam, which they say has turned as a death trap. The residents claim that in a year, 5 people have drowned in the dam. The locals expressed their fear over the fate of school-going children who usually swim in the dam during school holidays. The residents have faulted both the national and the county governments for giving a blind eye on the matter, saying the unfulfilled promises that they will fence off the dam and deploy divers is the reason for the deaths. During the rain seasons, the dam usually bursts its banks, forcing families to relocate for their safety.
Nilisikia ni kama alijaribu kuongea azin mtu amsaidie, lakini maji ni kama ndio akakunywa hiyo maji akakufa hivyo akasinga.
Na ukiangalia hapa ni mahali wa mama wanachotea maji, wanavulia manguo, ni mahali riski sana. Serikali yetu tukiongea nayo, kama wakati tulikuwa tunatoa mama pale, walikuwa hapo wengi sana, wakasema watatuletea vyombo na manguo za kuingia kwa maji, hatunjawahi pata.
Hata wakataswe wawache kukuja hapa, tufenziwe kitu permanent, kwa sababu tukiwekewa hizi juma watoto wetu hawana kazi. Watoto wanakimbia, wanapeleka chembo.
Sisi kama wakazi wa hii kijiji tunaona ina faida ama haina. Management ya dam, mtuambie mlichimba hii dam ikiwa ya nia gani?
Well, we're still keeping an eye on various stories that are currently making headlines at this hour. As and when we do get that particular links, we'll be informing you, especially at the Kibaki Legacy Lecture that is currently happening here in the capital. In other news now, 5 water pans have been revamped in Laikipia, offering farmers in the area an opportunity to produce food throughout the year. Speaking during the launch of the Water Pan Improvement Program, Irrigation Principal Secretary Efantas Kimotho said the initiative is being undertaken by the National Irrigation Authority will also feature the construction of liners on water pan walls to retain water during the dry season. That story is coming up in just a few, and we'll duly inform you as and when it comes. Let's move over back to the education sector, where the Kenya Primary Schools Heads Association, KEPSHA, is asking parents to keep a keen eye on their children during the April holiday. This, according to KEPSHA, will deter them from negative activities that can erode their morals. Speaking in Busia Town, Western Region KEPSHA Chairman Andrew Tobias Omusale reiterated on the need for a responsible parenting so as to avoid teen pregnancy, among other vices. He spoke during the 12th annual Western Region KEPSHA conference.
Penda wahimiza wazazi watulindie watoto ili wanaporejea kwa shule tusipate ya kwamba watoto wavulana wana shida, wasichana wamepachikwa mimba kama bado wachanga. Wazazi wetu, najua kwamba walimu wamepeana homework ama holiday assessments. Tafadhali tuhimize watoto wasome, tusiwapeleke tu kwa mashamba na kuchunga ng'ombe. Masomo is an equalizer.
Over 500 homes in Mwihoko within Ruiru constituency are facing the threat of eviction after a private developer claimed ownership of the land. The residents who say they legally purchased the plots, with some having lived there for over the last 30 years from a long-standing landowner with no prior disputes, are now being asked to pay up to 2 million Kenya shillings each to vacate. According to them, the developer recently called a meeting where he announced that he had acquired subdivisional titles for the land and now holds full legal ownership.
na anasema anahusia willing buyer na anaanza na zile plot zote hasijajengwa. Na akimalizana na hizo zenye hasijajengwa anakuja kwa hizi za manyumba zenye zimejengwa manyumba na atabomoa ahusia willing buyers.
Ile kitu uliko naye uliweka hapa na uliweka makao yako, naenda wapi na pesa yote ni malisha?
Ule ambaye alitoa pesa either akakopesha either akanunua, ni nani huyu? Ajitokeze na mabarua hizo zote tuweze kuziona.
Our plea is we negotiate with Equity at least to have a fair price, because personally I bought this land at 1.4 million just 2 years ago. Right now, to have someone ask you to pay 2 million, it's quite expensive for me, because I took a loan and to get this piece of land. I have not cleared the loan, yet there's still...
Now to a rather tragic turn of events, 7 people have been confirmed dead after they were involved in a grisly road accident at Kamandura Junction along Nairobi-Nakuru Highway. The accident happened after a 14-seater matatu of Kijabe Line Sacco rolled multiple times when the driver of the matatu reportedly lost control. The accident comes less than 12 hours after another 5 people lost their lives less than 3 kilometers from the point of the accident involving another private 14-seater vehicle.
So nikapata kuna majamaa wanajaribu kung'oa hiyo mlango didisha, ndio sasa wakanitolea hapo, then wakaendelea kusaidia watu wengine, then we were put in one of the vehicles from Turkana Sacco, ndio ikatuleta hospitali.
Yesterday as well at around 1 a.m. we got an accident at Manguo area where we lost another 3 more lives on the spot. The driver escaped. We are still in search of him, or rather the users of our roads, to prioritize safety and also to observe speed limits, as well as paying attention to the roads they are using.
Kuhakikisha wale watu wale wameaga dunia wamechukuliwa kaenda mochari, wale wako na majeruhi wamepelekwa kwa hospitali, na hiyo mpango yote imekamilisha vizuri.
Bali na hii accident imetokea
kwa hii area sana, na sana zinasababishwa na
Elsewhere, 2 Laikipia members of parliament have demanded expedited investigations into the murder of Agnes Wanjiru, allegedly killed 13 years ago by a British soldier. The MP's woman representative Jane Kagiri and Laikipia North legislator Sarah Korere emphasized the need for justice for Wanjiru's family, who have waited over a decade for answers. Speaking during the launch of a water pan improvement program in Sosian Ward, Laikipia North constituency, the legislator condemned the prolonged delay in resolving the case. The Laikipia North legislator also demanded justice for people who suffered as a result of British Army training activities in her own constituency.
Miaka 13 iliyopita kuna msichana wetu anaitwa Agnes Wanjiru wa kule Nanyuki. Aliuliwa na watu wa British Army na mpaka leo kesi yake haijawahi kuisha. Sisi kama viongozi wa Laikipia tunasema hii kesi ni lazima iishe, wa kuhukumiwa ahukumiwe.
Wamefanya dhuluma mingi sana kwa wanawake wa Laikipia North, na tunataka justice kwa familia ya Agnes Wanjiru. Yale mabomu ambayo yalikuwa yanawashwa huko, imechoma watoto, imefanya nini, waweze kufidiwa ili uhusiano na urafiki wa Kenya na UK iendelee bila dhuluma.
St. Peter's Thuguma Comprehensive School in Nyeri Town constituency has received a major boost with the renovation and equipping of its library and the construction of a new abolition block. The newly built abolition block was funded through the National Government Constituency Development Fund (NGCDF), while the library renovations and stocking were made possible through the efforts of the Rotary Club in the capital of Nairobi.
are here at the Ngoma Comprehensive School to launch our library project that we've been doing for the last 2 months. The reason we chose this school is because it had the dire need of a library, and also they needed computers or rather stationery, and we thought we should start with literacy because it has really been a challenge.
We are hoping that the learners we have here, majority of them are slightly below average, and then the performance also is going to improve.
The Kwame Otiende Foundation has launched a project to establish a rescue center for abused children in Homa Bay County. Speaking during the launch of the project at Uyugi Police Station, the foundation's director, Kwame Otiende, said that the center will provide protection for children against sexual violence. Uyugi's police station commander, Thomas Odenyo, said that the center will help safeguard the rights of children and strengthen the response to child abuse cases through close collaboration with law enforcement.
Aim to achieve with this center is to find a safe and secure place for all our children who have gone through cases of molestation within their families.
We are actually having a lot of cases of defilement, but today we have a house. I call it a house because it's going to house many children. It has been very tough. We are losing a lot of cases.
Somebody, a lady, comes here and throws a child here. Perhaps as we wait to call it for the father or the children's officer, who is perhaps, let's say he has been thrown here on Friday, we shall keep him here, the child here. Then as we wait the process to take.
It is 27 minutes past the hour. We need to take a short breather. When we come back, we have the latest in the world of business and sports.
Today we want to look at what would happen if the energy that the youth carry will be diverted to something constructive. This is not to say that all they do is destructive, but just looking at what about if we focus all this energy and see what kind of a nation we are going to create.
At the end of the day, God requires us to serve him in a young age. When you have the energy to do that, when you have the strength to do that, not when you are old, let me go and serve God, because you think death is near, so that's why you want to serve God. How strong are you? How strong are you? How strong is your Christianity? Because no matter what happens, the chokers of life, the peer pressures, the issues of life, the influence of this life is going to affect. At the end of the day, cross. You have to keep on looking at it.
The global meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibition is expected to reach the $1.4 trillion by the year 2030. Here in Africa, Kenya is a leading market for this business, and it is repositioning itself to regain its status as the biggest source market for this business. Kenyatta International Convention Center is at the heart of MICE business here in Kenya. But what are the strategies to attract more MICE business? This week on Inside Garment, I'm talking to the CEO of Kenyatta International Convention Center, James Mwaura. Our conversation revolves around the strategies being employed to make KICC the premier MICE business destination here in Africa.
Setting trends in the current day tourist. This is a person who has interest in seeing spicing in technology. You realize similar fountains are available in Burj Khalifa, Dubai, but none elsewhere in Africa.
Join me, O'Brien Imani, on this week's episode of Inside Garments.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenya.
Wake up with Good Morning Kenya.
the morning show that's got it all.
We dive deep into issues shaping our country.
Youth are a voice of a nation.
What is the next step for the young people?
Unpacking political landscape from Monday to Wednesday.
We discuss family matters.
It is very important to guard your relationship.
And for your health.
Someone doesn't wake up and they become an addict. It's in stages.
We've got you covered each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Every Wednesday, it's all about The Viewpoint.
A day in politics is like 1,000 years.
Unpacking the biggest stories of the week, getting you insights and getting you ready for your day.
And the package is not yet done. I get to fix your Thursday with some entertainment. Entertainment Thursday, it is.
Good morning, Kenya.
We shape your day.
Good morning, Kenya. Every weekday morning on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the National Syndemic Disease Control NCDC is currently reviewing its 2024 annual strategic plans in Homa Bay County with a focus on addressing behavioral change as a key barrier to ending new HIV infections among adolescents. Meanwhile, Busia County has launched the Viral Load Molecular Laboratory and a HB electrophoresis equipment at the County Referral Hospital aimed at boosting healthcare services, especially in the fight against HIV.
The Ministry of Health has stepped up efforts to address risky behaviors that spur the increase of new HIV infections among adolescents in the country. Speaking during a two-day stakeholders workshop in Homa Bay Town, National Syndemic Disease Control Council Regional Coordinator Stephen Oyugi revealed that adolescents' infections remain a major concern, largely attributed to unsafe sexual practices among the youth. This despite the ministry making significant progress in reducing Homa Bay County's HIV prevalence from 26.1 in 2022 to 10.6 in 2024.
This review entails basically looking at our reports, particularly program data coming from our facilities. Do we find them to be mirroring the real situation on the ground? Are we in agreement with them? So once we review this data, we'll validate them and take ownership of the same.
Meanwhile, to enhance healthcare services, especially in the fight against HIV, the Department of Health in Busia County launched the Viral Load Molecular Laboratory and HB electrophoresis equipment at the County Referral Hospital. The machine will serve over 40,000 recipients in Busia County, 20,000 in Vihiga County, and additional transit recipients in Siaya, Bungoma, Kakamega counties, and also neighboring Uganda.
This is an opportunity for all of us. The viral load testing equipment is here in Busia, in their neighborhood. They can take advantage of it so that we support as much as we can. Eliminating HIV in Uganda means eliminating in Kenya. Eliminating in Kenya, if it's not eliminated in Uganda, you know what's likely to happen.
Joseph Ohungu for Lunchtime News.
Now let's directly dive into the world of sports, where the government is collaborating with the Heifer International to support 625,000 smallholder farmers across 26 counties grow their farming activities. Livestock Policy Research and Regulation Director Dr. Christopher Wanga says the program that is being implemented over the next 7 years is part of efforts by the government to forge collaborations that will extend agricultural extension services to over 2 million smallholder farmers.
The resilience of farmers and the private sector, many of whom are women and youth, while consumers play a critical role in providing market for sustainably produced food. Ladies and gentlemen, achieving these goals requires not just government action, but strategic, people-centered partnerships. It is in this spirit that we celebrate the collaboration with Heifer International.
We're
launching the Practice for Change signature program, which we see as a long-term collaborative effort with the government. What this does is this program reflects our shared commitment to inclusive rural development. It's really built on the strength and the potential of Kenya's farmers.
In other news, farmers should embrace renewable energy solutions for irrigation systems to reduce their cost of food production. Association of Startups and SMEs Enablers CEO Masi Kimalat is challenging public and private institutions to explore synergy in modernizing agriculture. He also challenged innovators to focus on developing technologies that are affordable and tailored for the unique needs of local farming communities.
Some of the most innovative solutions around renewable energy and smallholder farmers. This work started a couple of years ago, and through that work we did a mapping. So this mapping helped us surface some of those innovations and where these innovators who are having solutions for smallholder farmers using renewable energy.
But they still need a lot of support in terms of simplifying what these policies are and also making compliance easy so that a farmer in Busia can easily file their returns or understand how the changing landscape in terms of regulation is taking place so that even they can go back into their books or even back into their business and actually calculate appropriately what is the cost of compliance, at the same time also looking at the cost of also running their own farm.
I think to make it accessible, the first thing is that farmers need to have mechanisms through which they can not only acquire the devices they may need, but also adopt their own, what you can call innovations that are much sort of smaller in scale.
What came out very strongly is that the renewable energy is not affordable. Okay, so number one, electricity is not accessible in some of the communities.
And also looking at mobile platforms.
Elsewhere, the youth should take advantage of high internet penetration in Kenya to explore income-generating opportunities online. Jane Kinyanjui from the Communication Authority of Kenya is challenging the youth to sharpen their skill for the changing job market and online work. Kinyanjui says the Communication Authority of Kenya is utilizing cash from the Universal Services Fund Kitty to put up telecommunication infrastructures in remote areas that are termed as commercially unavailable.
Our call to the youth is let us use responsible use of the internet. Let us use the digital space for innovation, for entrepreneurship, to showcase what Kenya has to offer.
Communication has been an impediment whenever there is an issue about security within those areas. The investment that the government has put in place, we believe is not only going to tackle the issues of security, but also going to give an exposure to the people of Garissa.
Let's come back here to the capital, where Absa Bank Kenya has rolled out an initiative to mechanize farming for over 300,000 farmers through partnerships with equipment and tractor firms as well as county governments to subsidize cost. Absa Bank Kenya Business Banking Director, that is Elizabeth Wasuna Ochwa, says the initiative targets to mechanize more than 150,000 acres of land and generate up to 3,000 jobs in agriculture-related services. The deal also involves the purchase of tractors and equipments for use by Kenya farmers on a pay-as-you-use basis.
The days of doing things in a traditional way are long passing. They are passing. We have to be able to move with the times. We have to be able to move with technology. We have to be able to produce more in the same piece of land. Land is not expanding, is it? Land is not expanding. But the question is, how can we do more with the piece of land that we have?
3 years ago, Kisumu was our first location. And we started with 0 tractors. And now we're up to 50 tractors financed in Kisumu. That's 50 new pieces of equipment serving over 50,000 acres.
The governor is very keen on
securing our county food-wise. And it can only happen when our farmers adopt modern technology to do their farming.
5 water pans have been revamped in Laikipia County that will enable to commercialize their farming ventures in that particular area following the revamp of an opportunity to produce food throughout the year. Speaking during the launch of the Water Pan Improvement Program, Irrigation Principal Secretary Fantas Kimotho said the initiative that is being undertaken by the National Irrigation Authority will also feature the construction of liners of water pans walls to retain water during the dry season.
For us to be able to be sending our team to do the distillation, but we also want them to also show us their ability to be able to utilize that water. And already we've seen that some are doing agriculture and some also want the water to be utilized by the livestock. So I think this is the way to go to ensure that we have equitable water distribution in the country through such program. Because as you know, this county doesn't have a lot of permanent rivers. So one way of ensuring that they also have water, we have equitable distribution in the country, is to do such programs and many others that will help us in water harvesting, so that we can be able to change our economy and also encourage the youth to plug into it.
Amassing 52 points and extending their remarkable Kenya Cup unbeaten run to 39 matches since February 2022. They secured their final spot with a dominant 45-6 win over, over the Menengai Oilers, who finished third with 47 points, crushed Kisumu RFC 76-13 in the final regular season match, edged past KU Black Blood in playoff and stunned KCB RFC 31-8 in the semis to book their place in the final. Kenya Rugby Union CEO Thomas Odundo says fans can expect high-quality rugby from two of the country's best clubs.
Tackle, bounces off one tackle, bounces off another one. Jackton also, but Cabras make good of their numbers.
And before I go, as expected, Manchester United were held to a draw by Lyon in their first quarter-final leg of the Europa League, while our neighbours, that is Chelsea, were able to beat Legia 3-0 at the UEFA Conference League. Of course, the major leagues are the Champions League. We're waiting to see what happens next week, even after the Gunners were able to thrash Real Madrid 3-0. That concludes our bulletin this afternoon. Do join us in our subsequent bulletins at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. My name is Abdiaziz. Hashim. Good afternoon for now.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tutajifunza kuhusu kilimo katika maeneo kame. Kisha tuangazie kilimo mjini.
Vijana waache kuchagua kazi, wajitume, wafanye tu kitu inasaidia tu. Ile kidogo tunafanya, washikane mkono, wapate mpende mawazo badala kushinda kuenda kuiba, fanya vitu wakuja washikane mkono, washike jembe, wapande mboga, matunda yatatokea baadaye.
Usikose kujumuika nami Francis Ngala siku ya Jumamosi saa 10:30 upate mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Washa, 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 washa.
There we want to look at what would happen if the energy that the youth carry will be diverted to something constructive. This is not to say that all they do is destructive, but just looking at what about if we focus all this energy and see what kind of a nation we are going to create.
At the end of the day, God requires us to serve him in a young age. When you have the energy to do that, when you have the strength to do that, not when you are old, let me go and serve God, because you think death is near, so that's why you want to serve God. How strong are you? How strong are you? How strong is your Christianity? Because no matter what happens, the chokers of life, the peer pressures, the issues of life, the influence of this life is going to affect. At the end of the day, cross, you have to keep on looking at it.
I am Chris Alems in Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to a new edition of Eco Africa. Human-caused climate disruption is now a fact of life. This week, we're looking at examples across the continent of transformative change, the many ways that economies and societies are reacting to today's new reality and adapting to ensure that the way we live becomes more sustainable. Here's what's coming up.
Fighting energy poverty in Somalia with solar power. A women-only gem mine in Zimbabwe. And in Ghana, how citizen science is helping reduce marine plastic pollution.
We'll begin on South Africa's west coast, home to one of the world's most expensive shellfish, abalone. The coastal communities there play a key role in meeting the growing global demand for this luxury seafood. But that leaves the local fisher people caught between the need to make a living and the need to protect marine life.
In the waters of Doring-Bay on South Africa's west coast, divers are on a mission to protect what they call white gold. The world's most highly priced shellfish feasts on kelp and could be mistaken for a mussel. But the perfectly camouflaged abalone is in fact a snail with grazing habits that help to keep the kelp ecosystem in balance. Its population is on the brink of extinction due to poaching and illegal trade with Asia, where it is a lucrative delicacy. In Doring-Bay, people are trying to provide alternatives.
And we're having 2 people off the farm currently in Gordons Bay at a diving school training to become commercial divers. And then we will take out another 2 people from the community to do diving for us. And that will also help us to curb the poaching process.
Samuel van Rooyen is the CEO of the Doring-Bay Abalone Farm. The company strives to provide a sustainable and legal alternative, growing the snails on land and in the ocean. An abalone snail takes up to 10 years to grow to size before being harvested and dried for export.
So the customer loves if the abalone have a long shape, especially the thickness of the abalone is also playing a role.
The farm is the main employer in the small fishing town, with a permanent workforce of 52 people breeding, growing and preparing the snails for market. The company is 35% community-owned through the Doring-Bay Development Trust. The idea is to keep local residents on board with sustainable fishing.
If you steal from your share, at the end of the day, when your share will be declared, will be smaller. And I think people start understanding their business role as a shareholder outside in the community. So they start protecting our sea life now.
The fate of the abalone is closely linked to socio-economic inequalities in South Africa. Here in Hamburg and Cape Town, people have been living off the sea for generations. But the government reductions of quotas to protect the remaining stocks left small-scale fishers with close to nothing. Fishers like Warren and his colleagues continued going out to catch abalone regardless.
It's dangerous, but what can we do? We risk our lives just to feed our families.
A good day I can get maybe 2,000 rand. In the dive I get maybe 40 or 50,000.
Yeah, I have thought about quitting multiple times. I've considered. The only thing that's keeping me is that I don't have a solid income.
Yeah, we don't break in. We don't hurt no one. We just take what we think is going to sustain us.
The poachers earn just a tiny share of the illegal trade. But over the